फ्रेंड्स, होप यू ऑल आर वेरी वेल। फ्रेंड्स, आज के इस व्लॉग में मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा IoT के ऊपर बहुत ही अमेजिंग सेमिनार होने वाला है। आज के इस व्लॉग में आपको मालूम होगा कि IoT के ऊपर एट प्रेजेंट कौन सी टेक्नोलॉजीज वर्क कर रही हैं। सो आप एंड तक बने रहें, बहुत ही अमेजिंग व्लॉग होने वाला है।
As a beloved principal, Mohammed Ansari sir is coming.
So let us begin the program in the name of Almighty, who is compassionate, merciful, gracious, and everlasting. I would like to call upon Sardar Ali, a finalist student from
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wadduha.
Dr. Muhammad Zahid Ansari for being the motivator and a great support in making this event a grand success. Among us, we have a prominent personality, Dr. S.P. Shiva Prakash sir. We are immensely honored by your gracious presence to enlighten us with your knowledge. I would like to request our principal sir to hand over the bouquet of flowers to the guest of today, Dr. S.P. Shiva Prakash, Associate Professor, JSS Science and Technology.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very important guest of today's program, a professor from a great institute, Jaya Chamarajendra College of Engineering, Mysore. Professor Shiv Kumar, Dr. N.S. Kumar, Head of the Department of Civil Engineering and Head of Research Centers at Ghousia College of Engineering. Dr. Ghousia, Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Faculty, your students. Indeed, it is a great pleasure for us to have such a motivating session today in technical arena, a very upcoming field, a very important field for future generation as well. And the theme of it is Internet of Things, basically IoT, which is taking up very important lead in every walk of life, in every department, in every field. Let it be computer science or a civil engineering. Let it be day-to-day activities or farming. So in many field, in many areas, this field has taken its encroached. So in this regard, today's program has been held so that we come up with the latest information, the latest technologies going around the world, and we should be abreast with the latest technologies to come up in the this particular competitive field around the globe. So in technical field, in educational field, the college is giving its whatever it could, but still there is a hope of improvement in coming future. And if we all stand together to improve this campus, to improve this college, of course, we can do it in a very short period of time. Of course,
our chief guest, Dr. Shiv Prakash sir, to to start off the seminar session on paradigm of artificial intelligence and IoT.
Which are placed within the components for some web-based applications, right? I mean, any IoT application that you have developed. So for that, you need a Django framework. Okay. So basically, Django, I think you might have heard about two APIs. One is REST-based, another is WebSocket-based. The WebSocket base basically uses HTTP protocols. Okay. And of course, here also we use HTTP, but you have certain features like it's stateless, cacheable, right? On demand, right? So let's say you have some application and you have developed all these models, and let's assume that you have a number of services, okay? And the communication APIs you are using REST-based API, and the protocols you are using equal to IPv6 or TCP and all of this. And at the top, if you look into that, for an interface part, the web app is the Django, okay? Now what exactly you are trying to do is, there are sensors, and sensors are generating data. Let's say you are using a humidity sensor or DHT sensors, which measures the temperature, okay? And you are connected to a Raspberry or Arduino board, okay? Now, once this device or the sensor is generating a data, and that has to be ported or stored to the cloud. Now, I need some interface for that. How do I build this interface? And if you are using Raspberry, obviously you are using Python as a programming language. Yes or no? Right? Now suppose I have an HTML file. Okay. Now I want to write the logics to this, and that HTML file uses, obviously either you should go with some scripting language, JavaScript or any other. But since you are using a Python here, and the same Python program has to be executed there. Okay? And also, you have connected this to a database. Let's say that the data that has been generated is stored locally. Okay? Let's say you are using MySQL database. Now, how do I store this? How do I create or write a program such a way that, I mean, by a Python program which embeds the interface as well as the connectivity protocols or the protocol that you write, okay, for an IoT based applications. How do I interface this? For that, you have a Django framework. Okay, the Django framework, I think you can go to the Django slides. Just I think next. I think you are familiar with these things, right? Serializers, okay? Creating models, how to map the models. If you are implementing IoT-based applications, right? Of course, the models that we use is the Django DB, right? So basically, how do we use these models? We have to write a separate set of codes for that. Initially, we start creating the project. Okay? Within the project, we add app to that. And within the app, you have models, you have views. Okay? So I'll go to that. Next. Let's put the Django. Yeah. So basically, Django is an open source application, web application, which has been purely written by using Python. Okay. So this framework allows us to interface between the hardware generated data and also the interface HTML. Okay. Right. So in fact, where you don't have to see, for example, if I ask you to develop an interface which so that straight away I can store the data. You start creating an HTML file by using some third-party software, but later how do you embed this? Okay, so Django solves this problem. Okay, I can go write a Python program to generate an HTML. Okay, so that whatever the logic that I wrote, the business logic that I in the business layer, right? So straight away it will be incorporated into this. Okay, right? So, and very important thing is you don't have to write from the scratch. Everything is made available. Just you have to replace those codes with your application. Suppose you are developing an agriculture based applications, okay, maybe some smart home, right, or some irrigation, any kind of application that you are developing. Just change the code, add your code into this, add your logic into this, your job is done. Okay, right? URLs are already available. Okay, once you create a project, URLs.py will be available, right? Where you will add path to this. See, for example, if I am creating an application, okay, agriculture, and agriculture is my application name, just add to that, right? So within that URL, you go out to it. Okay. Now, from the URLs, basically the content of URLs are the list of files. Whatever the files that you have in models as well as templates, that will be stored in URLs. Okay. From the URLs, you can import, you can add all those things, and once you execute this, once you run this application from the URL, right, the corresponding files will be executed. Okay? Of course, basic knowledge, Python, right? So, and that too you don't have to worry about too much because templates are available. Okay? Browser, right? Now, basically the browsers are used to respond, right? So you have a triggering event, click on that. Okay? Once you click on something like I create a button, add new record or delete a record. So one best example is crude. Create, read, update, display. Okay, crude example. It's available in Google, right? You can straight away use that. Okay. Next. URLs basically maps between the functions. You know, I have a set of files that are located in my project. See, there are two folders. One is project. Within that project, you have the app, right? First, you create the project, then you create an app. Inside the app, there are a set of files, and URLs will help us to map between those files. Okay? And views, basically, to render the template, you collect the information from the model, right? And put that all, whatever the data that you add to the interface, the corresponding data will be stored in the database. Okay? And template, of course, it's left to you. Whether you want to add a static or a CSS file, that's left to you. For example, if your application doesn't embed any CSS file, let's say that, you can ignore that, no issue. Okay? Depending on your applications, you try to design the interface. Okay? Right? Forms, again, most of the applications that we develop are contains forms. See, the usage is very simple, the Django usage. Somewhere, some application is executed and your system is remotely connected to that. Now, sensors are generating data and that sensors data has to be rendered to the database, stored in the database via some interface. Okay, I need some interface for that. That interface is Django framework. Okay, so it means what you can do is for your final year project or whatever the semester you are in, you can develop an interface, right, for all IoT based applications to one interface. That's enough. Create multiple users. Okay, you can develop your own application there. Please remember this. Right? For let's say your computer science department, let's say CS or IS, you develop one application. See, instead of going through a HTML based applications, if you go through the Django based application, straight away the hardware data that you have can be stored into this. You can push this data. And there are certain APIs where I can send SMS, I can send an email. See, for example, most of your developing IoT based application where it takes an action by sending an SMS, like alerting system. If it is an home automation, if there is any intruder, you want to send an SMS, right? See, if you are not using Django, obviously you have to create multiple fields, right? You have to go for third-party software. From the third party, you have to make. Again, I am not saying you don't have to use third party. Yes, definitely you have to use the bulk SMS, right? You want send SMS to your mobile number rather than something like third-party SMS bulk, right? And similarly, you can configure your mail into this. Say, for example, you might have some application, agriculture application, where you want to upload the status of the crop image, and also some analyst wants to send a report to them, right? You have a database, you have a multimedia, and you need an interface for that to send this. So definitely Django will help you for this, right? Model basically it defines a structure. It's something like description command in your database. What basically DSC command will give you, right? It gives you the scheme, right? Schema, the structure of that table that you have used, where what are the variables and its type. I mean the attributes, its type will be displayed, okay? Right?
It seems to be a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this seminar a very resounding success. First of all, I would like to give my hearty vote of thanks to our expert speaker and eminent scholar, Dr. S.P. Shivrakash, for gracing today's technical talk. Thank you, sir, for making an excellent and interesting talk on IoT and AI. It was well informed and enjoyable listening to you, sir. I would also thank our Professor Dr. Omar Khan Durrani, sir, for organizing this session and making it possible. I would also like to thank our HODs and main innovation team for guidance and support. Finally, I thank the wonderful listeners, students from all the departments of this institution. Hope we have discovered and learned few things on IoT and AI today. Thank you for your cooperation. Once again, I thank all for your cooperation and being here very patiently. Thank you so much.
Yes, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Dr. S.P. Shivrakash, sir, for showcasing an excellent presentation and making this session. And we are almost, we have reached the last moment of our program. Now, I would like to call upon Rajesh Kari, a final year student from the Department of Computer Science, to convey the vote of thanks.
उम्मीद है फ्रेंड्स ये नॉलेजेबल व्लॉग आपको अच्छा लगा होगा। अगर ये व्लॉग आपको अच्छा लगा है तो लाइक करें, शेयर करें और मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। और ऐसे ही नॉलेजेबल इन्फॉर्मेटिव व्लॉग्स के लिए आप मेरे से इंस्टाग्राम से जुड़ सकते हैं। मेरी इंस्टाग्राम आईडी मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन में मेंशन कर दूंगा। सो तब तक के लिए मिलते हैं फ्रेंड्स।
We have been working on Twitter analysis